Hello everyone, Jester Tester is back. This time, we're reviewing the Attack from Mars virtual pinball machine by Arcade1up. And here it is, guys. Now, I know I'm a little late with this review, but I thought there were a lot of things on this machine that were important to talk about. So let's get into it, all right? First off, I want to thank everybody for watching and supporting the channel. Also, if you haven't yet subscribed, please consider doing so. I would really appreciate it if you did. Okay, so where do we start with this machine? Well, let's hit some of the positive notes first, and then we'll get into the muddy waters with it. Hang in there with us, guys. All right, guys, so one of the biggest positive about this machine is the same thing that I said about the Star Wars machine. It's absolutely gorgeous. I mean, the look, the fit, the finish on this machine, I mean, it looks exactly like just a smaller version of an actual pinball machine. It really does look high-end. Between the graphic art, the chrome, the speaker layout, the DMD screen, like I said, the chrome trim legs, even down to the plunger and the plate on the plunger and everything, just absolutely gorgeous. There's nothing I could say better than that. I mean, the look of these things is just breathtaking when you look, when you come in and you look at these things, especially when they're lined up together like that. Just absolutely perfect. I love the way they did that. Now, we all know about the resolution on the gameplay itself. 720, they had to step down the 1080p monitor to 720 progressive, I guess, basically to get the gameplay going a little bit faster, whatever. So at first that was a problem for me. I did critique that with the Star Wars, but I'm going to be totally honest with you. After playing it for a while, you kind of forget about that. You really do. The gameplay is fast and it's exciting, so you kind of do forget about that after a while when you get into it. Especially when the sound, especially with Star Wars, the sound on these machines is incredible. That's another thing I have to give them credit for. They really did a good job with the speakers on this. The sound on it is just, it fills the room up. Now, on the Backglass on this, it looks great from a distance. It really does. But if you get close to this, you can kind of see here, well, first of all, they crop the image down here. If anybody is familiar with the actual Attack from Mars pinball machine, this is a much longer picture. You'll actually see her legs down here in the picture, and this continues down, and so does the alien. So they had to crop that. I get it for the aspect ratio that this is in here. But that's not really what the problem is. The problem is here is the scan of the picture lost resolution a little bit here. You can see this is a very pixelated kind of a picture. It just is not, the resolution is just not as good as the Star Wars. Because I'm assuming the Star Wars picture here was a rendering, an original rendering done by Zen Studios. That's why their name is there. But this one was actually a copy of the Backglass, the actual Backglass on the Attack from Mars machine. And the other thing here on the side, this is where the graphics kind of lost its resolution a lot here. You could see the graphic here is very pixelated on the side. Not so much down at the bottom here. This is very clear down here. They did a good job with that. But the side panels, I don't know what happened here. I guess maybe they blew it up a little bit, or the scan was just very low resolution on that. You can see a lot of pixelation, a lot of haziness in that. But I mean, that's a small critique. That's really not that big of a deal to me. Most of the time, like it is right now, the pinball machines are going to be side by side. You're not really going to see the sides anyway, so that really is not a big deal. All right, guys, so another great thing about the Attack from Mars pinball machine is the choice of games. Now, I basically almost played every single one of these games in the real version of these games in the arcades. They have Tales of the Arabian Nights, No Good Gophers, Whitewater, which we'll come back to that, Roadshow, Hurricane, of course, Attack from Mars, Fishtails, The Getaway, Junkyard, and of course, Medieval Madness, one of my most favorite games next to Attack from Mars. Now, going back, this is where we're going to start heading into the muddy waters, guys. Now, I'm sure you guys heard about this. Maybe you haven't, maybe you have. But Whitewater on every single table that I know of so far is unplayable. The ball jumps around. Maybe we'll go into this for a second, and I'll give you a little idea. I don't know if it might not pick it up on camera, but I don't know what happened with it. It seems like it's a software issue. Now they're saying that they may fix this with a software update. Let's just turn it up a little bit. Now, I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up. I don't know if you can see it on camera, actually. But the ball bounces around like erratically. And the physics of it is not correct. It'll bounce around and do weird things. It's really unplayable. You can't really play this game. There's no way to actually play it, because, and then if you hear that where it's making that noise in the background, you'll hear that echo, and it will repeat that echo at times, and it'll just keep doing that sound, that repeated sound over and over and over again. Like I said, it may not show up well on the camera, what you're actually, see now, if you've seen it right there, that ball jumped from right to left. And it's a shame, because this is a really, really fun game, but it is unplayable, unfortunately. So that brings us, this is the first part of the problem with it. Now, I've heard that almost on every single table that this exists. So I find it hard to believe that Arcade1up didn't know about this. I'm sure that this had gone through quality control, and they had to have caught that. Because, I mean, you could see it within the first couple of seconds of playing this game that that's a huge issue. You could see it right away. Like I said, it might not pick up on camera so much, but when you see it in real life, it is noticeable right off the bat. So, I mean, that's a problem with the table. Like I said, they said that they're probably going to come up with a firmware fix, but this is out of the box that way. And every single table, of course, this ain't an isolated incident. This is every single table that has this. So that's one bad strike on this, unfortunately. And now we're going to get into another issue that was on the table too, ghost nudging. And that's present on this one also. I've been fighting with this problem for a while with this, and going back and forth trying to fix this and figure out what the solution is to this. But let me show you a video of what the ghost nudging, because right now I have it reset, so it's not doing it right now. But we'll get into that right after I show you the ghost nudging, and I'll tell you about the resetting it and what'll happen after the reset. But let's just put a video up, and I'll show you what the ghost nudging looks like. All right, guys, so that was the video of the ghost nudging right there. Now, the funny thing is, when I came back after the reset, here it is on the Attack from Mars. So even after the reset that I was telling you that I had done, I showed you the video of the ghost nudging on the Hurricane table. Now, here it is back on the Attack from Mars. So this is what I'm talking about as far as Arcade1up tells you to reset it. And I'm going to show you what they tell you to do as far as resetting it from the G sensor. But like I had told them, that it doesn't matter when you reset it, because what they want you to do is they want you to reset it, and then they want you to take a diagnostic test of it and send in the diagnostic test. But what I told them was that once you reset it, the diagnostic test shows that it's fine, it's okay. But this will then crop up afterwards, after maybe a couple of hours, or sometimes a couple of minutes, sometimes a day, but it will come back, and you can see it doing it there. But let me show you the part where they tell you how to go about resetting the G sensor. So let me show you that now. All right, guys, so let me show you where this G sensor is. After you take off the chrome sides and this front panel plate here, you'll see the G sensor, what they want you to go into. This is where they want you to reset this G sensor. You'll see that little green flat disc in there. Well, that's the accelerometer or the G sensor there. What Arcade1up is going to tell you to do is unplug it from this point here and then unplug it from the board in the back here, and make sure those connections are tight. Then they're going to tell you to plug them back in, all right? And then they're going to tell you to turn the machine on and run it through a diagnostic test. Well, first they want you to level the machine first. You know, I don't know if that really has anything much to do with the accelerometer, but they tell you to make sure the machine is level, and then go through the process of unplugging it from both sides, follow the wire to the back PCB board back here, unplug it from both sides, plug them back in, and then run through your diagnostic test. Now, the problem with that is sometimes it does reset it, and you don't get the ghost nudging. But it takes maybe sometimes an hour, maybe 2 hours, maybe a day, and then you'll come back in and play after a while, and the ghost nudging will reappear. So that's the problem with that. So even though the reset may work for a little while, it's not going to work in the long run. So it looks like, to me, there must be a problem in the G sensor itself. At first, I thought maybe it was a software issue, but I'm starting to believe it's more in that G sensor right there. All right, guys, so that's what Arcade1up tells you to do as far as resetting it. But as I said, resetting the G sensor, that's only a temporary fix. It usually works for maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour. Sometimes you can go a full day of playing it, and then you'll turn this machine back on and the ghost nudging will come back. So it definitely looks like that it's a defective G sensor, because what I have to do is, that'll become so bad, actually, let me start with that, that the ghost nudging is not only the problem, it actually creates this echo after a while. Not only is the ball flipping around by itself and becomes erratic, but there also is an echo in the game. You'll hear knocking, like artificial knocking sounds. Basically, it's like the ball making the sound of a knocking sound, but you'll hear that throughout the game as you're playing it. So what I do is I just disconnect that G sensor for now, and then you could play it. You just don't have the nudge feature, which doesn't really work all that well anyway, but I mean, you can utilize it a little bit, but it's impossible to use when that ghost nudging appears. So I just disconnect it from that, and I'm hoping Arcade1up reaches out to me regarding that. A few other things that I had with this right off the bat was there was dirt on the monitor itself, underneath the plexiglass, all over the monitor, and there was dirt behind the DMD screen, which I thought at first I thought there were blown pixels in that DMD screen, but it wasn't. It was actually dirt particles stuck right to the DMD screen itself behind the plexiglass. So I had to take all this apart and get in behind that and clean that. So that was another thing that really kind of frustrated me with this whole thing. I mean, straight out of the box, brand new, all these problems are on this machine. And this ain't like I said, this is not an isolated machine. There's a lot of problems with this one as far as that. Like we said, the white water issues on that. And as far as the real world physics, let me get into that. They touted that the Attack from Mars has real world physics, unlike the Star Wars games. But that's a little odd too, because if you have played Attack from Mars and Medieval Madness, you'll actually notice that it seems that the gameplay is sped up actually on it. It actually moves faster than the actual real game. So that's a little odd. Not that it's a big deal, but it's not exactly real world physics. It's actually the ball is moving much faster than the real world thing. So then we have the ghost nudging, which is the problem, like we said. And on this one, believe it or not, the solenoids are a tad bit weaker than on the Star Wars. So I don't know if that's just, one set of solenoids is going to be a little different than another, or maybe this is not getting the same amount of power to the solenoids as that one is. But these are knocking just a tad bit lighter than the Star Wars. So that's an issue. So you put all these things together, and these are the problems that we have with this. So, and how do we evaluate a product with all these problems? Well, I always say, well, is the product worth what you paid for it? And did you get a product that the company, did you get out of the product what the company promised you? And with this one, no, you didn't, because right off the bat, every single machine, you can't play whitewater. So they promised you 10 games and you have 9 games. Many of the tables have the ghost nudging issue, which is a bad sensor, bad G sensor. So did you get what you paid for out of this? At this point, no. Are they going to fix those problems? Maybe. I hope they do. I feel that they probably will. I'm sure that they will put out the software, and I'm sure they'll stand behind it. So here's what you have to decide. Do you want to buy a machine that you know more than likely are going to have these problems? You know whitewater is going to be a problem. More than likely you're going to have that G sensor problem. If not now, you may have it in the future. Because I didn't have this problem right off the bat. When the G sensor problem, I didn't have it right off the bat when it came out of the box. It played good for a little while, and then that problem started showing up. So you have to ask yourself, do I want to buy this product now and potentially contend with those issues and deal with them down the road? Or, do you want to see what goes on afterwards? That's up to you. I can't say anything about it. But I just wanted to share this with you guys and let you know about all these issues. And I'll leave the decision up to you. Do me a favor. Leave me comments in the down below in the comments section. Let me know if you have the ghost nudging problem. Let me know if you had the dirt issue problem. Let me know if you had the weaker solenoids, if you have another machine that you can compare it to. Let me know if you have any of these issues. All right, just so I know. And so we can compare and see. All right, guys, so that's the review. Jester Tester saying be well as always, guys. Happy gaming, and until the next review, we will see you.